Into your mind, because Leviathan is controlling everything. Now let me go into this right here. Now, this coming out the Now by Alpha Uno wrote this like 1971 or 1972, right? And it's called Mind and Sex. They said, of course, mind is creative matter and 9 represent mind. Mind is the motivating matter in nature, and mind may be living at one time and dead at another time. Living mind is that which is more positive matter active than negative matter, and dead mind is vice versa. All right, so in here, it's speaking when Nupu is ruling, when the pygmy gods and stuff are here, it's called 9 mind. We talking about mind is living, and it's living air, the living sun, the environment is alive, there's no poison, there's none of that stuff that we hear now. So they would have living minds. We're in what we call dead minds scientifically because we have more negative brain matter than positive. And you can tell by your interaction with the world and looking at history. You see that there's more negative being produced than positive. So in noon, that's telling you, or that's a sign that 6 mind or mental death is at play here. That's why everything we see is negative in death and based around sex. Now it says here, a living being's mind is his personal guide. A living being's mind is his personal creator. To say a living being's mind is his personal guide and control is to say a living being's mind is his personal God, to use a Caucasian power word. Show us a person who has a weak mind and we will show a person who has a weak God. The way to strengthen your mind is with 9 knowledge, the correct information. A person can be living physically and be what? Dead mentally. As in the case of a Negro. The word Negro means negative growth, which is another way of saying ignoramus. 9 mind grew the universe as the sons of 9 mind, and mind is in the top half of the circle. So when he's saying mind up here, because he wasn't using Nupu at this time, he was using this as a code word when he was saying 9 in mind, but 9 in mind is another way to refer to Nupu. So He knows that 9 mind down here is only mental energies in his head growing because we're in the Zupu zone. So everything is mostly negative. So if you could take this word Negro means negative growth, you can see it. You can look at our entertainer. Negative growth. Glorilla, negative growth. Megan Thee Stallion. All these people, they're growing, but it's negative. So they would be considered negative growth, and that means their brains are so negative, and this is why they're able to go into these places of Hollywood and things, and these people get approached to do what? Something negative. And they go with it because the mind, the brain matter that's been produced over the millions of years of evolution broke us down to be able to fit into mankind's system. And that's what people don't get. They don't understand that. So let's get down here. The 2 major powers that exist in the universes and in any living being are mind and sex. The 2 are opposites. Okay, mind is the positive, right? And sex is the negative. Mind is the motivator and sex is the activator. So we talk about when Nupu is ruling and the pygmy gods are here, mind is the activator because there's no sex during the top half when they exist. So the opposite of mind, because they're gods and they don't have sex in the top half, their Nupu is always mentally stimulating them, and they know they are gods.
So just to recap. So the Nupu states there's no flesh. This is just etheric of sorts, if I can use that terminology.
Well, they are mental, spiritual energies at this time. So and they with Alpha Uno even right now in his second incarnation. But when Nupu exists as physical beings, as gods, it's no sex. They are personified in a physical pygmy amphibian body, which I did a couple of videos back, how our ancestors in Kemet used the frog that represent 1 million years to represent them. And a frog is an amphibian. And they knew that our ancestors lived about over 36 million years. So they knew that. But we don't. Nupu is only mental energies now, because we're not in the Nupu zone. Humans don't live in the Nupu zone. We can make it there, and we'll only be able to exist in the top half for about 9,000 years. After that, it get too hot, and we have to pass away because we don't have the genetic structure in the genes to sustain those million degrees type of heat. I did 2 videos. Me and my wife called The Temperature of Nature, and it shows you how hot the sun and the universe and the moon and stuff was during that time. So no human being could exist in that atmosphere. It's too hot. And opposite, the same way the pygmy gods couldn't exist right now because it's too cold. They only was existing when it was fiery hot, when the earth was, just freshly being made.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
If you go back and watch the videos I did on the temperature of nature and all of that, it explains that a little bit more deeper. And cool. I think I got another video that me and my wife got to do to show how the pygmy gods actually existed and lived that long. So I just got
or should we say the Twa people?
They all descended from them. All of our pygmy tribes in Africa are descendants of the pygmy gods' children. The Twa and all that stuff came later because we didn't look like they look now. We looked more amphibian. We stopped being able to swim in the water, after Uno said, about 600,000 years ago. So after people started changing, whatever the words they use, Homo sapiens, sapien, and all that, we started changing, and it became more human looking today. But we didn't look like this 1 million years ago. You see what I'm saying? So this is a fairly new form that would be within this 600-year, less than 600,000-year time frame. So that's the stuff that and you can tell the fact that we able to be in water in our mother's stomach. It tells you that we share some type of relationship with water, and we could be in water for a long period of time and can't exist without it.
Would that go the same for all mammals then, who go through that process?
And to an extent, but originally, just like our ancestors came from egg formulas, and they was being because the pygmy gods didn't have sex, the earth and the sun, he used his 9 ether lightning to impregnate the earth, and then he would hit the eggs with lightning when she pushed them up from Lake Victoria, and they
more detailed than, or more realistic than parthenogenesis, right?
Right, because again, they still in the sex zone. The planets gave birth to the beings, and then millions of years later, when Nupu had to be switched out for Zupu, now the creation had to become sexually responsible to keep everything, because the planets go through a menopause stage. So the Earth goes through 36 million, 18 million years of producing the original races, and then she go through an 18 million year menopause state, and then when the time for us to come into play, it's 18 million years of producing human beings, and then she goes into 18 million years of menopause, and then she's gonna bring back the pygmy gods right after that. So the human being and the planet's pretty much the same. It's pretty much the same. It's just
Tar. Will that cycle continue then? So after after the pygmy gods come, we're gonna go through that same baptism again.
Same thing over and over. It just take millions of years because you now on planetary god time. The gods, the pygmy gods and the planets, they have similar lifespans. We don't live that long in the same body. We have to keep incarnating from body to body. So therefore, sex provides us another body, because our bodies in the bottom half are not built like the bodies in the top half, where they have all those nutrients and life-giving energies to rejuvenate. They get old, but then their body rejuvenates itself. See what I'm saying? That's not how we do though. We do that. It happens like with fingernails and our baby teeth.
Yes,
like that.
And every month,
not the whole body though.
Well, technically, they say that the scientists say that every month our cells, die off and are regenerated and all that. So in a macro way, that if I'm getting the terminology right,
you can.
The micro, the pygmy gods will be doing exactly the same thing in regards to they'll be degenerating, but they'll revigorate themselves back to their original self.
Because he said they move around tirelessly for 9,000 years, and then because there's no death in the top half, instead of death hitting them, they'll just stop moving wherever they're at, and they have to be put in the waters of earth for 9 years, and they'll just float for 9 years and they'll get rejuvenated. So it's a lot that go with that science. Salt plays a part in it. Heat and the nuts and berries that they were eating, because the nuts and berries have an oxidation in them and they rejuvenate a part of carbon inside the body. So just like us, we breathe the same way the trees take our carbon and then
substitute
So when the pygmy gods was alive and the food that they ate did the same thing for their body and the carbon that was coming out of them, and then the atmosphere also recycled it. So, but that was recyclable in their environment as well. It's just like you said, our cells, rejuvenate, some die off, but their cells didn't die off. Nothing died with them. It only became, used to a certain extent, and then it would be recycled again.
Yeah. Shit.
Without stoppage.
Okay.
So it's a lot, we're dealing with that. But this right here, let me finish this one here.
Yeah, come with it.
Mind gives one knowledge or mental power, and sex gives one what? Physical power. When the two powers are properly balanced in a living being in accord with this nature and position on the circle, meaning wherever we at on the smack circle, right now we're at 3 South. So what you see a Nunavut would do, like myself, is take the mental knowledge and put it together with the sexual knowledge. But it has to be a balance. So Nupu mind has to control the Zupu power and show you how to use sex energy to get things done. That's showing you that it doesn't mean that every time you do something, you're feeling sexual, but it's the energy, because sex is body power. And if you look around you, that's what you see.
So dominance, that could be dominance as well, then, right?
As far as dominance, when a person wants to get a nice car, sometimes they use it as what? A sex object. Even if they're not trying to get sex. It's all sexual. You said it's sexually motivated, because that's the dominant energy in the universe. So when people say love is the greatest force in the universe, that's a lie. Sex is. Because that's what people are doing. Wars are started by sex. Wars been started by love. It's sex and lust. So if you got a princess that don't want to marry this guy, and she go off and mess with another prince or somewhere, that's lust. That's not love. You see, lust, the desire to want to be the ruler, the king, the best warrior. All that stuff is sexual power based. You see what I'm saying? That's what it's really saying. Excuse me. So that's the issue that we're having, is that they don't understand what Zupu 6 ether sex power is. So Afruna continues to state that without mind, one would have no consciousness, no conscience, no sight, no feelings, no taste, no sense of smell, and no sense of hearing, no sense of thought, and no sense of reason. And when one does not possess these qualities and properties, that being is very dead. Although sex reproduces life, it also represents death, because the more sex, the more life, and the more life, the more death. In other words, there cannot be an increase in death for any long duration unless there's first an increase in life. Life must precede death, because before there can be death, there must be life. Mind, which is Nupu, reminds one what to do to prolong life, and sex shorten life by making one physically weaker, especially the male. In the reproductive act of sex, the parent gives part of their lives to the offspring. Sex causes increase in negative forces when it is exercised in unnatural ways, or exercised in lust instead of necessity. Now, this is why sex is pushed so much in the industry and all this stuff. And when you constantly doing that, and then if you're reproducing, you're shortening your life with that. So they pushing people to have sex and even kill your offspring with, it's my body, my right, and abortion and plan B, because you're breaking laws of life and you're setting up karma for yourself and your future by engaging in all these different things. Because we only know about the what is he called? We know about the pleasure of sex, but we don't know about the science of it. So we all know about the basic level. You know how to get with a girl, and she know how to get with a guy. She know how to do this. You know how to do this and flip it and rub it down, all of that. But the actual scientific and the karmatic part, whether it's positive or negative, comes with everything that led up to that point. Why you're doing that point? What, how did you and this person come together? See, nature is taking account of all the things that we're doing. It's adding it up, whether we understand that or not. So you got two people coming together. They just coming together to play. They breaking the laws of nature and sex because they don't understand what sex is. Like, this is what he say. Sex is sacred, and it should be treated that way. By sacred, we mean it deserves the highest regard and best care possible, because it produces our future. If it degenerates, our offspring will be degenerate. If it is corrupt, our future will be corrupt. If it is depraved, our offspring will be depraved. If we use it unnaturally, our offspring will be unnatural. Sex also causes male and female to fuss, fight, and kill each other. Sex sometimes causes people to do incredible things. Many people know the art of sex, here we go, but if any know the science of sex. The art of sex is knowing how to obtain the greatest ecstasy or pleasure from sex, but the science of sex is knowing how to obtain the least adverse results of the act. To put it another way, according to the law of the code of the opposite, sooner or later, pleasure must be offset by pain. So the less pleasure one has, the less pain is required to offset it. See, these is the things that mankind knows, and this is why he pushes us to do it. So they know their cycle is over with, right? They know their time is up. They talking about in Italy right now, they ain't had no births in about 5 months. Okay? So they already suffering because Italy is old Rome. And they was doing a whole bunch of, with the Greeks and all, them going out having sex and having orgies and killing and robbing and all. So it's coming back to haunt them. They just not talking about it. And with the opioids thing that Trump had pointed that out when he was in office, he was really upset about the opioid because it was killing off white people. But this because they was doing so much stuff throughout time that they don't realize this is karma. It comes in different forms. So that's the science of sex, meaning knowing that the pleasure, they had so much pleasure for all them thousands of years, robbing, raping, and taking people's lands. They didn't realize that all that's going to tally up at the end of the 6,000 years, which where we at right now. So now you see America being overran. To me, when I see all these people coming here that they call the immigrants, this is the same thing that they did when they ran over here. Nobody invited them over here from over here.
That is you know, Todd, that is a excellent point. That is I'm glad you said that, because it's perfect. It's 100% correct. 100% correct. The English, the Dutch, all of them Germans who came over here, New Amsterdam. Look at the names of the places that y'all go over there. Like, come on, man! It's exactly the same thing. Apart from, you know what the difference was, sibling? The difference is that the copper-colored races of the Americas didn't have a standing army per se. Didn't have the intent and heart to go out and rob, kill, and slaughter people. They opened their arms to welcome Christopher Cabal. They wasn't on no wild stuff.
Well, the spirit set them up that way. I mean, it was destiny. It happened that way. But certain times throughout destiny situations, you still have a choice where you don't always have to follow what the crowd is doing. But for the most part, they was doing like we was doing, busy fighting each other like they showed in Apocalypto. They busy following their own traditions, and the spirits making them kill, and so they can have blood sacrifices. And then by the time the Caucasian ended up coming there, it was now time for the conquistadors, which is Italians and Romans. That was their time to come take over, and they did just that. So now we have to recognize the writing on the wall and say it's time to get the hell out of here, because karma is here. And next year it's going to be so disturbing, politically, musically, all of that, till when people realize the sexual forces behind it, then they're going to understand what's taking place. I already understand that Leviathan now is being put in a chokehold because the cycle has changed, and Leviathan can no longer use the innocent as it was doing. And now Leviathan has to follow the cycle like all the gods do. So Leviathan knows that it can only take the animals who were naturally put here to be food and sustenance and sacrifices as a form of giving praise and honor to the spirits, but the spirits won't do anything. A lot of them, the majority of them, without some type of blood sacrifice, that's their payment. That's by nature. In the bottom half, that's normal for them. So Leviathan can kill animals, but it can no longer kill innocent people. It has to kill the guilty. So now, in order for Leviathan to stay alive and with the spirits, it has to follow suit, because spirit beings and spirit gods, their survival come first over human being. That's a natural law of nature. So Leviathan is now starting to spit out the guilty and attack the guilty. See what I'm saying? They was able to hold Epstein off for a minute, but now it's over for that now, because it's people like you said, the lady you was interviewing is trying to find herself. See, all these people have been trapped by sex, and now that the spell is really wearing off, they're gonna start trying to find themselves within this year that's coming. So a lot of interviews you probably gonna end up doing, if they see these interviews that me and you've done, where I predicted this all the way from 2021. And now I'm here again to tell you that this year is going to be more of a high volume, because now the knowledge has to spread and people have to now make informed decisions, because noon is here, and it will help people realize, damn, I didn't know this. I didn't, but now they can, because religion only tricked them. All them people believe in that's in that industry have crosses on them and all other kind of images on their body. So that can't be positive, because if religion was so positive, and it had that energy of it, it wouldn't allow demonic people and beings wouldn't have those images and those jewelry shaped like the emblems of these religions, doing the nasty things that they're doing.
It's a battle, isn't it? It's ultimately a battle, a spiritual battle, an emotional battle, and also a physical battle. But what we've been building on, more importantly, is what most people don't necessarily, they think it's, it's all physical, and to a point, yeah, but it all starts up in your mind first. Before anything can be done physically, you have to think of it as a man or as a woman thinketh, so it shall be. But at the same time, we've got a driving force which manifests itself in various different, emotions, energy in motion, not just a blatant sexual act, but the drive to do all other things which you don't necessarily know, which make up the personality or parts of the personality of people.
And that's what we're seeing. Once this stuff clicked, and whatever may happen with the Epstein letter, and as far as some of the people that's gonna come out, it's gonna come out. I mean, a lot of us already seen mad different lists, but people still think, oh, this can't be true. So that's the one thing that mainstream media has. So once they put it out, whoever that may be, then people gonna start taking it serious, because some of those people that they're worshiping is on that list.
Yeah, a lot of people.
A lot of black people are on that list.
Yeah. And I've got to mention it, since we're talking about the list. What about Neidhart, or whatever his name is, the Canadian guy who had his own little island? Look how many people were going there as well.
He was a black guy or no?
No, white guy. He looked like a damn flipping theatrical Dracula.
Yeah. He's in jail.
Yeah, he in jail, man.
Yeah, him and I think him and Epstein were neighbors, and they was battling each other.
Yes, they were warring. It, sibling.
Yeah. My wife put me on to that guy, and he was at a video where they was trying to get some ovaries from these black women, and saying that their genes was good and all of that.
Yes,
and they did not understand what they didn't see. They had no knowledge of self, to the point that they would allow themselves to be used biologically for the benefit of, to keep them a whole nother race young, because that's what he was doing.
Stem cell technology that Peter and I are investing in is called SCNT, which takes the egg of a young, perfect woman specimen, takes the egg and takes out the nucleus and puts our DNA in the nucleus. They just go in and take it out.
It's painful, right?
Huh?
Is it painful to use this?
Yeah, and this is part of this genetic greatness that we don't see in any other race on the planet. These curvy, sexy black women from Africa. You girls have a kind of a monopoly on this genetic perfection, and we want some of that. So, girls, for $100, we will pay you for your egg.
No, you $100? Monkey.
So how much do you want for it? Let's bid. I bid $500 for you. Whatever I bid, he's gonna outbid me. I bought about $60,000 worth of eggs. Yeah. If you have abortion, that's very valuable. Umbilical cord, and placenta, even your period blood is so rich with stem cells. When you regard it as waste, then it actually should be. It should be captured as recycled, and it shouldn't go to waste. It's life for somebody, It's life for mankind. But where the best days are 60 to 18 years old. Those are the best days. As you get older, your age gets weaker and weaker.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. So you may not be our top candidate.
No, that's fine. I think I was my business adorning yourself with the idea of making yourself immortal, I think, is science fiction, and I think it's unethical.
They've already tested this practice in mice, and mouse was fat, and mouse got six-pack, and it was jumping all the women, young, right? At first it's just everybody's safe, and after that, the young.
Yes,
They said
indeed.
once he did look pretty good for his age, but they said once they put him on the ground, I think he in Colorado prison, and he can't get those shots and stuff. They say he looked like a zombie now.
I can imagine. I can only imagine. But you know what? I don't even know if they even spoke English, man. Some of them, yeah.
Some of the black girls?
Yeah, man. Because with the islands which they inhabit are like in between kind of Dutch dominant islands. See, some people are quite ignorant and think that all of the Caribbean islands are English speaking and are English colonial ruled, but no, you've got the Dutch Antilles, you've got French over there as well. Martinique is a purely French island. Saint Lucia, they've got huge French influence there. Like and at the same time, even though if they didn't speak English, they know what they're there in that little meeting to discuss. Wasn't it £20,000 he wanted to pay them? $20,000.
It was something. It was a high number, I think. I don't know how deep. D, you remember how much money that Caucasian guy was trying to offer them black girls for their eggs?
Very low amount, and that's
Yeah.
when they started getting crazy. Like, what?
Yeah, it was low. Yeah, it was a low amount. It was low. It wasn't a lot of money. Yeah, it was a couple of grand. It was a couple of grand. Them women spoke English because they was talking. But Oprah was on that man island and everything.
Yeah, man.
He was showing them off and all of that.